Quorum is present. I will now call this meeting to order. The time is 4:55 p.m. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. I will now turn the floor over to Patrick Simmons, audit partner from Whitney Penn LLP, who will present the audit report for fiscal year ending August the 31st of 2024.
Thank you. Good evening, Board, Superintendent, President, and members of the Board. My name is Patrick Simmons. I'm here to represent Whitley Penn as your auditors and present the results of the fiscal year 2024 federal, federal single audit and financial statement audit. And so just a quick introduction to the other members of our team. We have Eileen, who was the senior manager, and then we had Selena Sarasaris, the EQCR partner. And so there are some members that aren't listed here on this page. We also have a senior associate and a number of different associates that participate on the engagement. And then with this, we do have built in some rotation. So we have, Selena was new on the engagement this year, so that's a new set of eyes to look at the financial statements in the risky audit areas and make sure that we are doing what we need to do. And then Eileen and myself were provided some consistency, and then we also had some rotation in the associate and senior level team members, and those are really the ones that are in the weeds during field work that look at all the different areas very closely. We do come out in the summertime. This is just a quick overview of the timeline. So we come out in the summertime and we do some interim field work, and then we come back after you close the books and we substantiate all your balances, and we really do the bulk of our field work after you close the books. And here's just a few areas we look at internal controls. So first of all, we do a walkthrough with each department, and then we gain an understanding of your controls, how they're supposed to work, and then we select samples and test those controls to see that they actually are working and as you design them to be. And then if there's any gaps or anything, we would either discuss those or report any issues. And then the purpose of the audit ultimately, though, is to express an opinion on whether or not they are free of material misstatement. And then I'm happy to report an unmodified opinion is issued on the financial statements. So this is the highest level of assurance that we can provide, and this is a clean audit. No findings related to compliance, no internal control findings related to financial reporting. And then also we issue the federal single audit. And so this year the major programs were Title I and ESSER once again. And so no findings related to compliance, no internal control findings. Overall, a very clean audit. And I just want to say thank you to your team. Ben, Ida, and Chris, and all their team really do a great job year in, year out. And they really care about these financials. So they have been looked over many times to make sure they are as accurate as they should be. And now we have some high-level financial statement information. And so your total net position ended the year at $154 million. So this is the basis of accounting that includes your capital assets and long-term debt. So it's different from what you're used to seeing for your general fund. But you did end the year positive in all categories, which isn't always the case. And I like to point out the $13.8 million in increase in net investment in capital assets is. It's always good to see that you're going back and building on giving back to the infrastructure of the schools that provide for the students, and you're building faster than those are depreciating. So it's good to see that. Your unrestricted number is going to include pension and other post-employment liabilities, so that's why it's lower and it fluctuates so much. But I'll go ahead and go to the actual fund statements where you can see the results of each fund. And so your general fund had an increase of $1.4 million to ending $221.9 million in fund balance, and that's after other uses or transfers out of around $8 million. And then your debt service fund remained fairly consistent, $2.8 million into the year at $2.9 million. And then capital projects fund decreased with your bond fund spending to $18 million. And then non-major governmental fund is all your mostly your grant-related funds. That's where your child nutrition fund will be as well. And then year over year, general fund revenues on the left is fiscal year 24, and on the right is 23. So you can see state aid made up 47% this year as compared to 42% last year, and then taxes were at 40% this year and 44% last year. And then your other category is going to include items such as investment income is usually the biggest one in there. And then on the expenditure side, 57% of your fiscal year 2024 general fund expenditures went back into instruction-related services. That's going to be your function 11, 12, and 13. And then 12% is in facilities, maintenance, and operations, which that's going to include your utilities and insurance. And then the third largest category is your instructional and school leadership at 10%. And it's important to note, we did go through these last year, but I'll just go through them quickly again. So there's 5 different categories of fund balance, and at the end of the year, you had unassigned of $60.4 million, and then assigned fund balance of $160 million. And then the non-spendable piece is just what's non-spendable for prepaids and inventory. And your unassigned fund balance as a percentage of expenditures went from 25.3% to 24.1% this year, which is well above your 15% per policy. And so you ended the year with your $64.2 million in unassigned fund balance. And then these are some required communications, and I won't go through each of these in too much detail. We do issue a separate letter that goes through all these in detail, much longer letter, but overall there were no issues to report, no disagreements with management, no material misstatements identified by us that required correction. Any misstatements that were identified were corrected, and they were mainly trivial, minor adjustments. No difficulties in performing the audit. Overall, it went very well, and with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons.
Thank you.
I will now turn the floor over to Dr. Kimberly Martin, Executive Director for Accountability and Academic Support, Maria Munoz, Principal of Cloverleaf Elementary School, Elizabeth Nava, Principal of Galena Park Middle School, and Lakeisha Washington, Principal of Green Valley Elementary School, who will present the locally developed improvement plans for Cloverleaf Elementary School, Galena Park Middle School, and Green Valley Elementary School.
Thank you, Board President Hernandez. And we just want to take a moment to say thank you for all that you do for our community during School Board Appreciation Month. We're going to present together as a team like we do most things here in Galena Park ISD. And what we're going to talk to you about is our federal accountability labels. So the three of us are going to go through, I'm going to start off by explaining to you how we get these labels and then how we get out of these federal accountability labels. So Domain 3 identifies some of our schools for comprehensive support and targeted support. It's 2 different labels. It is all based on Domain 3 in our state accountability system, which this graphic kind of designed to show you that we're looking at a variety of sub-pops. So those are our racial ethnic sub-pops, special education students, our ESL learners, and there are different targets set for all of our students at meets and masters. So above approaches, when we hit those targets, we get an overall domain score, and if we don't, that score can be 0, okay? Then what the state does is turn that information over to the federal government, and the federal government identifies the bottom 5% of each type of school. So bottom 5% of elementary schools, middle schools, or high schools. We had 2 schools who fell in that bottom 5%. You can also be identified if you're not in the bottom 5%, but you have a graduation rate below 67%. We're nowhere near that in Galena Park ISD. But in order to get out of comprehensive support, you have to be making gains for 2 years in a row. So when you hear from Ms. Munoz, you're going to hear some great gains she made last year, but we have to do that 2 years in a row to get out of comprehensive support, okay? And then we have targeted support. So you may be surprised that Ms. Nava's going to talk to you tonight because she had an A in her overall accountability system, but she missed targets in one area for 3 or more years. So that is considered by the state and federal government as underperforming for 3 or more years in the same area. Okay, so this looks very, very deep at very specific student sub-pops. It's not our overall performance. So the two schools that were identified in the bottom 5% for comprehensive support were Cloverleaf Elementary, which was identified in 2023, and then Green Valley, which was identified at the end of last school year, 2024. Those require a targeted improvement plan. Last year, some of this information was delayed due to the first lawsuit. This year, the state has progressed on the normal timeline despite the lawsuit. So that's why you didn't have this meeting last year and are having it this year. And then our targeted support and improvement, we missed a target for 3 consecutive years in SPED. That requires a local improvement plan. The difference between those two plans is that all of our campuses have to produce a campus intervention team. That includes district level staff, campus staff, but at our 2 comprehensive schools, it also includes our Region Service Center to help us. We engaged in a diagnostic review already with both of these campuses where somebody from Region 4 came out to those campuses, spent a day or 2 with our principals, reviewed all of our curriculum materials, and then gave us a review with some items they thought that we should work on. For our targeted improvement plan at Galena Park Middle School, we get to do all of that locally. So those are the difference between the 2 plans. And we're going to start off by sharing Cloverleaf's data.
So when you're We are big on climate and culture. That has been the biggest focus at the beginning of this year. I'm going to begin by going over our data, but I want you to understand that we are committed to providing the best education possible to the students who attend Green Valley. So in 2024, what you're going to see without me going through each number is, I'm sorry, 2024 in the spring, less than 70% of our students were approaching grade level. And less than 40% of our students were meeting grade level. They weren't on grade level when they were promoted to the next grade, which means the gaps keep getting larger and larger and larger. So that means that at the end of the year, last year, we ended up with a score of an F for domain three and closing the gaps. So here are our challenges. Some of the challenges at the beginning of the year, I had an opportunity to talk to different stakeholders involved, and some of the same things were heard over and over again. Attendance, because we have a high mobility, just like Ms. Munoz, a high transient population, that affects students' learning. If they're not in school, they can't learn. A lack of parental involvement, or even parents even understand how to help their students, how to help their children, what they need to do, getting them to school on time, getting them to tutorials, all of those things matter, but parents weren't as involved. We also noticed, and teachers shared, that there were systemic instructional concerns, which resulted in the existing academic gaps. You had teacher retention was a problem. There was no counselor. There was a need for leadership, collaboration, and development. And then at the end of the year, there was a staff, a survey was sent to determine the needs. What is it that the staff was saying that they needed? And some of the things that came out of that was more professional development. There was professional development being provided, but they wanted more differentiated support. So that has been a big focus, and a lot of that support has to do with Tier 1 instruction and with implementing a campus-wide discipline plan. One thing I can say now, as we look at our successes, the positive climate and culture, and I think with some of the GBE family being here, I think that can definitely speak volumes as to how we function as a team. Attendance is definitely improving. We track it daily. Enrollment has increased from the start of the school and remained consistent. Our PLC meetings, when our teachers are planning, they're focusing on Tier 1 instruction. What can we do to become better to make sure our children are getting the best instruction possible? Interventions also began early with our CICs. They are amazing. We started Gator University because we didn't want kids to feel like tutorials early in the year was a punishment. So we made it something fun, and we even had other kids wanting to come to Gator University. And it was for our 4th and 5th graders. And from that, I can tell you that our 4th grade alone was number 4 for our district assessment test. So that definitely speaks volumes as to we had a public hearing with our parents, and we invited the parents to be a part of the education of their kids, to be a part of it. We opened the doors for them to volunteer, come in, help out, see what we're doing, see what great things we're doing at Green Valley, so that you can know that you entrusted your babies, your precious ones, with a great team to help push them forward. Not just MTSS that is working, but all of our special programs. We've restructured how we determine what is appropriate for our students, what accommodations are appropriate for them, what's necessary, what's needed, what data are we really using to prove if it's working or not, and if it's not working, coming back to the table to go over it again. And then we've also implemented, as I told you earlier, the campus-wide discipline plan. If you walk through the halls, you will see different posters of it, because we're encouraging our kids to shine, and they know what that means, to shine in the hallways. And then lastly, our next steps, part of being a part of the comprehensive support plan is, of course, we have to present to the board. The other part is thank you to Dr. Martin and Mr. Rocha for applying for the LASSO grant, and we will find out, I believe, in February how much we're awarded, so we will be able to continue for going in the direction that we are going in, and continue focusing on Tier 1 instruction and building everyone up. We are so grateful for you guys.
Galena Park Middle School. So as we all know, although Galena Park Middle School did get a 91 in A, we are part of a targeted support for our special education program, and we are on the list because we've been for consecutive 3 years not meeting the target. So this allowed us to look at SPED. So if you look at your screen now, we have the last 3 years. So currently you see the first column where you see SPED, our current SPED students. So their target is 23% for combined domain 3. And you can see for the past 3 years where we're at. And then for our SPED former students, so those are our students who have exited the special education program with the last 3 years. And now TA is tracking our former SPED students, so that's why you won't see that for 2022. But as you can see, we're steadily have decreased within the past 3 school years. So looking at this, knowing that our teachers are teaching because the growth was there, we did get an A, so our students are learning, but this allowed us to hone in on our special education program and see what do we need to focus on. So our challenges were identifying what professional development we needed that targeted special education students. Our special education teachers we've had over the years, every year we have new special education teachers that we are to retrain, and every year is new, not only with the curriculum, but also with the compliance for special education. We have a growing number of special education students in our campus and also district-wide. Also, we've identified, noticing if maybe our early exit, maybe our students that are exiting the special education program maybe are exiting early and they're not ready to exit. We are also looking at tracking our former special education students. In the previous years, before TA started tracking former students, special education students, we as a campus weren't honing in our exited special education students. So that was a challenge at first. And also the tutorials for special education students as far as what pullouts, interventions needed for them. And also restructuring our advisory, which is our first period of the day, our 0 period of the day, allowing our case managers who are special education teachers to have their special education students in their advisory in order to target those individual goals that they have. So successes that we've seen so far within the first semester, we have identified what's professional development our teachers needed. And we've implemented, our special education department has helped us identify what areas, and they have supported us and came by. And our teachers have, not only our special education teachers have been part of this, but also all of our core teachers have been part of the development that we've had throughout the year. Part of those developments is co-teach strategies as far as where the students that are in our co-teach classes, our special educations who are in general ed classes, they're identifying what strategies they can use for our special education students. Also teaching our teachers the modifications and designated supports that is allowed for them and how they can implement that during instruction so it can reflect also when they're testing. Our PLC, during our plannings with our teachers, we always have special education students in mind and are always looking at their data and identifying with our special education specialists to see what strategies we can use for our lesson planning. And we have also been tracking our special education data with every unit test, semester exam as well. And we are seeing some steady growth. It's not as fast as obviously we would like to see it, but we are seeing our growth, especially we just received our semester exam data, and we are seeing our former students definitely hitting that goal and surpassing it. The next steps is, again, continue to track any new exited special education students because now they're part of what we need to track. Continue with our PLC that we have a few more professional developments for this spring semester that we want to continue. We will continue to have a library of PLCs for if we have new teachers, new rookie special education teachers, and also for our returning special education teachers. And then continue to monitor our co-teach cycles, coaching cycles that our special education program department is helping us with in monitoring. Also, compliance with our art processes to ensure that the students are getting the right IEPs, their plans, and also the correct designated supports, and retain our special education teachers so we can continue to grow as educators.
And so we are required to let you know that we've applied for the LASSO grant. Cloverleaf was awarded the Effective Schools Framework grant. We're going to model that exact same thing. It worked so well at Cloverleaf at Green Valley. We will get award notification in late February. So this is an area where we have additional compliance requirements, but also there is some funding to help us with those. Do you have any questions that we can answer?
More a question or a comment. Don't jump, ladies. I'm sitting here with goosebumps because these are 4 products of our district, and I had the opportunity to be a part of all of their educational life, and I want you to know I'm so proud of you. Keep up your leadership. You're doing a great job.
I also want to comment on how great you pinpointed your challenges, you evaluated, you went through your successes, and of course, you got your improvement plan. We plan to see a lot more. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And I have 2 questions, just very easy questions, and just out of curiosity. On that parent town hall, how was the participation?
Well, we were strategic. So we chose a time, I'm sorry. I said we were strategic. We chose a time when we knew our parents would be there. So we took the opportunity when we had our winter musical, when we knew parents would be there to come see their kids shine and sing, to say, oh, wait, parents. We told them in advance that there was going to be a parent meeting, and they stayed. And, you know, some had a few questions, but we just took that opportunity, so it was really good success.
Wonderful. And then one other thing, the co-teaching cycle. Can you give me a little more detail on that?
So for co-teaching cycles, we have about, top of my head, 6 different co-teach strategies that are effective in a co-teach classroom or resource class or any class if possible. So for example, one of the strategies is parallel teach, which if you have 2 teachers in a classroom, a special education teacher and a general ed teacher, we can parallel teach by splitting up our group of 24 students or 30 students, 15 and 15, and you teach one lesson, I teach another lesson. It's the same TEAC, we're just teaching it different. So that's one of the strategies. So for example, what happened previously early in the semester, the special education department presented how to do that, and teachers then had modeling done for them, and the special education program went in there, observed, gave them feedback. Then we did our observational walks as from our A team and even administration to observe this and see how was it going. So the goal is for them to get comfortable and do it more often instead of just teaching, lecture teaching.
Wonderful. Well, great job. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to add one more thing. I just want to say Dr. Martin, she's been by our side from day one, and she's always a phone call away and has supported us so much through this process. So she's been great for us as well.
Thank you, Dr. Martin, Ms. Munoz, Ms. Nava, and Ms. Washington. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 5:25 p.m. Go ahead. This one? A quorum is present. I will now call this meeting to order. An executive session of the board will now be held on the matters contained in the notice for this meeting as authorized by sections 551.001 through Section 551.084 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act. Should the board determine that any final action, final decision, or final vote be required with regard to any matter considered in such closed or executive meeting or session, then such final action, final decision, or final vote shall be at either this public meeting upon the reconvening of this public meeting or at a subsequent public meeting of the board upon notice thereof, as the board shall determine. A closed or executive meeting of the board will now be held. The time is 5:26 p.m. Session is adjourned and the board is now in open session. The time is 6:02 p.m. I will entertain motions on the items covered in executive session. Is there a motion to approve the employment of contractual personnel?
I, Amanda Arabia, move we approve the employment of contractual personnel as presented.
I know Esparza, second the motion.
A motion was made by Amanda Arabia and seconded by Noe Esparza. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. Is there a motion to approve that the Galena Park Independent School District Board of Trustees adopts the notice of public meeting and notice of proposed legal services contract as submitted by Ben Poppy, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by Dr. John C. Moore, Superintendent of Schools?
Ramon Garza moved that we approve the Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees adopt the notice of public meeting and notice of proposed legal services contract as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Ramon Garza and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. Is there a motion to approve that the Galena Park Independent School District Board of Trustees adopts a resolution approving the contingent fee, legal fee services contract, including the findings needed for submission of a contingent fee legal services agreement and request for expedited review of the Texas Attorney General as submitted by Ben Poppy, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by Dr. John C. Moore, Superintendent of Schools, and delegate to Dr. John C. Moore the authority to execute all necessary documents.
I, Linda Sherrod, move we approve that the Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees adopt the resolution approving the contingent fee legal services contract as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Linda Sherrod and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. Is there a motion to approve that the Galena Park Independent School District Board of Trustees adopts the contingent fee legal services agreement with Thompson and Horton, LLP, Island and Bonin, PC, and O'Hanlon, Demuth, and Castillo, PC, as submitted by Ben Poppy, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by Dr. John C. Moore, Superintendent of Schools, and delegate to Dr. John C. Moore the authority to execute all necessary documents.
I, Amanda Arabia, move we approve that the Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees adopt the contingent fee legal services agreement as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Amanda Arabia and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? A motion was carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. The Board of Trustees of Galena Park Independent School District is now convened in a regular meeting on January the 13th of 2025 in the Administration Building of Galena Park Independent School District, the address of which is 14705 Wood Forest Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77015. The time is 6:06 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as provided by Section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking, and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Galena Park Independent School District. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. We do have public comments for non-agenda items today. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions and opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of speakers. Please understand that a lack of a response from the board members does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. The vice president of the board will be designated timekeeper. Ms. Megan Brown, will you please step up to the podium?
Hello, I'm Megan Brown, a troop leader for Girl Scout Troop 132303. Our troop has a total of 12 Girl Scout members. Of that, 9 of our girls are in Galena Park ISD schools. The schools represented in our troop are Cimarron Elementary, Galena Park Elementary, Purple Sage Elementary, Williamson Elementary, and Cobb 6th grade campus. Additionally, we have 2 parent members in troop who are employees of Galena Park ISD. With that, on behalf of the Girl Scout Council of San Jacinto and Girl Scout Troop 132303, it is our honor and privilege to present our Girl Scout cookies to the members of the Galena Park ISD School Board for the Texas School Board Recognition Month. Thank you all. So who can my girls present the cookies to?
Aww, absolutely.
And there's enough for everyone, okay? There's enough cookies for every board.
Thank you, Ms. Brown and the Girl Scouts. Ms. Sharonda Hunter Will you please step up to the podium?
Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
I stand before you to acknowledge and bring to your attention the heartwarming proclamations and resolutions we have received on your behalf from our local elected officials in honor of Board Recognition Month. We are truly grateful for their recognition of your dedicated service to our school district and community. We would like to express our sincere appreciation to the following elected officials who have participated in honoring you tonight: the North Channel Area Chamber of Commerce, the Honorable Judge Joe Stevens, Jacinto City Mayor Ana Diaz, and State Representative Ana Hernandez. These proclamations and resolutions serve as a testament to the vital role you play in shaping the educational landscape of our district. To highlight their sentiments, I would like to share an excerpt from one of the resolutions. Whereas school boards play an integral role in the education of our children, and the observance of School Board Recognition Month in January 2025 provides a welcome opportunity to honor the trustees of Galena Park Independent School District. And whereas each of these notable Texans have demonstrated an exemplary commitment to area students, and through their vision and leadership, they are contributing immensely to the future of the Lone Star State. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees be commended for its service to the community, and its members be extended sincere best wishes for continued success with their important work. On behalf of the entire Galena Park ISD community, we thank you for your service. Each trustee will receive a copy of the resolutions and proclamations provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Ms. Mercedes Sanchez, will you please step up to the podium?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Mercedes Sanchez. I am a Senior Director for Policy and Community Relations for Commissioner Adrian Garcia, Harris County Precinct 2. And I am here today with Alan Velasquez, who is Precinct 2's Community Liaison for the Galena Park community. As you know, January is School Board Recognition Month, and today I am here on behalf of Commissioner Adrian Garcia to thank and celebrate our Galena Park trustees. Commissioner Adrian Garcia commends you for your commitment and passion for the education and success of all children. Through your decisions and policies, you're shaping the educational landscape for our youth. Your decisions impact the present and, most importantly, the future of our students, our educators, and ultimately our community. We're lucky to have such strong advocates for education as we do in each and every one of you. Thank you for ensuring that every educator has the support and the resources so that every student can get a quality education to become the leaders for tomorrow. Thank you for your time, for your passion, and for your commitment. Please note that you have a partner and an advocate in Commissioner Adrian Garcia. Without further ado, please accept these certificates of appreciation on behalf of Commissioner Adrian Garcia and the residents of Precinct 2 to honor your leadership, dedication to all the children of Galena Park. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Tonight's invocation will be presented by Jose Jimenez, and the pledges to the American and Texas flags will be led by the Cunningham Middle School Air Force LOTC. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Gracious and loving God, we come before you today with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our Galena Park ISD community. Guide us with your wisdom as we gather to make decisions that will impact the lives of those we serve. Grant us clarity of thought, fairness in judgment, and compassion in our actions. Help us to work together in unity, setting aside personal interests for the greater good of our students. May our words and deeds reflect your love and justice, and may our efforts bring lasting benefit to those we are called to support. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Order, colors. Outer, face. Forward, march. Left, left, left. Colors, halt. Post, colors. Present, arms. Order, arms. Forward, march. Left, left, left.
You may be seated. We will now move on to this evening's special recognition portion of the agenda. Dr. Moore?
Greetings, everybody. Glad you could spend some time with us tonight. Before we get going on our recognition, we're going to move some students around here, but before we get going, those of you seated in the audience, if you could please help me, a lot of people have recognized our school board, right? They've come up and read proclamations, but, you know, they're worth a lot more than that. We appreciate the efforts on everybody's part. These guys do a lot for us, a lot more than you can imagine. All right? Not every school district is set up the way Galena Park is. Not every school district runs like Galena Park. Every community has its own identity when it comes to the way their school board handles things. And for the employees and the students in the community that depend upon our school board, I'm not sure you guys understand how fortunate we are to have them. Mm-hmm. And if you don't believe me, tune in to a school board meeting somewhere else, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and it won't take you long to figure it out, okay? So on behalf of the administration and the students, particularly our staff and community, could you join me in giving our school board a standing ovation? Because in today's political times, I just don't think y'all understand how good we got it. I'm just saying. And we got it that good because of them. It's just that simple. And they always put their personal feelings aside and act as a team. And in today's political world, that is uncommon. And so because of that, we function the way we do, and we're a great place to be. And it all goes back to those pictures on the wall. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We're up.
Good evening. Trustee Ramon Garza will assist with tonight's recognitions. Galena Park ISD would like to begin this evening's recognitions by applauding the top individual and team Social Studies B winners. The Social Studies B is a competition that focuses on history across the United States. This annual competition emphasizes what students are learning in the classroom and extends their application of knowledge. Please join us on stage as I call your name. Overall top scorer and Ruby Gresham Scholarship winner, Esteban Garza, North Shore Senior High School. Team winners, Roberto Barrientos, CTE Early College High School. Luz Campos, CTE Early College High School. Mia Pena, CTE Early College High School. And Alexis Umana, CTE Early College High School. With their principals and Coach Childress and Program Director for Social Studies, Crystal Arguiard, please join these outstanding students on stage. Congratulations to each one of you. Next, we would also like to recognize the top individual and team Geography Bee winners. The Geography Bee is an annual competition designed to encourage the study of geography, and students are selected by their campus to compete among their peers. During the competition, participants are asked geography questions and earn points for correct answers. Please join us on stage as your name is called. Elementary overall top scorer, Jimena Hernandez, Galena Park Elementary School. Middle school overall scorer, Adrian Calderon, Woodland Acres Middle School. Elementary school team winners from Galena Park Elementary School, Ariane Gracia, Jimena Hernandez. She's already up there, she has to come back. Xavier Jaimes. And representing the Galena Park Middle School team, Jared Resendez. With Principal Benzor, Principal Villalobos, Principal Nava, coaches, and Ms. Arguiard, please join them on stage. Congratulations. This concludes this evening's portion of recognitions. Thank you.
Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this time. Does anyone have a comment?
First and foremost, thank you everyone for all the recognition, but the true recognition goes to everyone who makes this place a reality. Starting with Dr. Moore, his entire team, the principals, everyone all the way to the maintenance engineers that handle the maintenance overnight and keep our buildings open. Without you, Galena Park wouldn't be what it is today. And one thing I want to encourage everyone here to do is to please, 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 as you see us work together, regardless of our backgrounds, ethnicity, race, whatever differences we have, we don't pay attention to that because we're focused on the kids, our students. And I ask you to do the same with our legislative session that's starting tomorrow. Please pay attention, contact your elected officials. If you care about public schools, pay attention and participate at that level too. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharonda Hunter, Executive Director for School Community Relations, will present the Board of Trustees Spotlight. In recognition of Board Appreciation Month, Ms. Hunter will highlight the Board of Trustees in video format.
Good evening again, esteemed trustees, cabinet, and GPISD community. It is my pleasure to present the first GPISD District Spotlight, where tonight we will shine a light on the remarkable dedication and unwavering commitment of our GPISD Board of Trustees. You have consistently demonstrated a passion for education and your tireless efforts to support the students and staff of this great district. Board of Trustees, you play a crucial role in shaping the future of education in our community. Your leadership, vision, and countless hours of service have been instrumental in driving our district forward and ensuring that every student has the opportunity to succeed. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we recognize and celebrate the outstanding contributions of our GPISD Board of Trustees.
Nice.
In Galena Park ISD, where dreams take flight, strong leaders guide us, shining ever so bright. With wisdom and courage, you pave the way, preparing us for a brighter day. Dedicated trustees, pillars of our schools, your vision and commitment are precious jewels. Through challenges and triumphs, you stand tall, ensuring quality education for one and all.
I have a background in education. I taught for 2 years for Fort Bend ISD. And kids have a very soft spot in my heart, especially kids with very unconventional past. And so I was a kid that had a very unconventional experience kind of growing up. Of course, we all had financial problems, but I had a family member that suffered from addiction. And so what I want to be and strive to be is an example for students that may be going through the same thing that I went through. I want to be a positive example for students so they know that your past does not define your future, and they need to see a person like me in this position.
So I decided, I've always been involved in the community, always. I think that everybody should be involved in the community, where they live, where they work. I just think if everybody did a little, this world would be a much better place. And so I've been involved in this community. I was raised in this community. I have 4 kids that go to Galena Park ISD. My oldest graduated in 2023. The other 3 are still here. And so I think you can't really complain about anything if you're not willing to roll up your sleeves and help out. And so I'm passionate about education. I'm passionate about Galena Park ISD. It's where my roots are. And so I want to make sure that we're good stewards of the taxpayers' money. I want to make sure that our schools remain safe, and that our kids are college and career ready. I think Galena Park ISD, it truly is a great place to be. And I just want to help with that process.
Each of you brings a unique light. Your diverse perspectives make our students' futures bright. From classrooms to boardrooms, you've come so far. Your service to our community raises the bar. Now, esteemed members, we turn to you to share your stories, both old and new. Your life experiences, dreams, and passion have shaped your journey in a special fashion.
See, growing up, my parents always had to work. So my parents didn't get an opportunity to be a lot of the things that I had to do or got an opportunity to do in school. So I was in marching band when I was in high school, and I went to all the games, but our parents didn't get a chance to go to all of them. So when I had kids, I made a personal commitment to be active in my kids' lives. So since they were babies, I've done everything that I can to be there, because the first 18 years of their lives go by really, really fast, and I knew that was going to happen. So I made it a commitment, and both my wife and I have made a conscious commitment to be there for everything that we can.
I love education. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher. That's meant, nothing else. When I was in college and I was offered a job to work for Shell and not come back and finish my degree, and I probably would have doubled the salary in time, but I knew I wanted to be a teacher. So I stayed with it. And I love teaching, and I always will. I'll always say I'm a teacher.
Oh, well, that dates back to the 1970s, 1974, 75, actually, when I was a elementary student, kindergartner at Jacinto City Elementary. So lots of fond memories from there. What I remember the most, though, about JC is the mural that would sit outside of a building back then. We would actually walk by it every single day, and I would just look up and be in awe of this beautiful mural. And so when we built the new school, that was one of the things I was really, really hopeful that they would save, and we did. We were able to save it. And so that's a really fond memory for me from GPISD early on in my childhood. So
When I first came, my very, very, very first year at Galena Park High School, I remember these kids were taller than me, bigger than me, some of them. And then there was one football player that was so big, I had to look up to him. And the thing with him is he had acted out in class. And so here I was, and I was scolding him, and I was going like this, but I was looking up like this. And someone took a picture of it. I remember that. But to this day, I will never forget that experience. And they always say, your first year as a teacher is the most memorable of all. And it is true.
So my very first GPISD experience was when I went to school for the first time in my life, which is a first grader. And I was in the first bilingual class that school district had. So there wasn't enough kids from Galena Park Elementary or Jacinto City or MacArthur, so we would ride a bus from Galena Park Elementary to Jacinto City Elementary, pick up about another 8 kids there, and they would bus us to Jacinto City Elementary. And there was probably about 22 of us in the first bilingual class the district had in 73, 74.
What drives your passion? What's your why? The purpose that makes your spirit fly. Share with us the fire in your heart that's guided your leadership from the start.
My why is basically the students. I do this solely for the students.
My why is because everyone matters. Every student matters. And I don't want anybody to be left behind. I want to be a cheerleader, but I also want to be a mentor.
What's my why? My why is because we need someone to advocate for the rest of the kids like I was. I didn't grow up with too much privilege. I was never without. I didn't, but we didn't have everything.
I'm an educator, and you don't have to be an educator to be on the board, but I felt like I had a lot to give. I'm very pleased and very proud of the direction Galena Park Independent School District is going. I wanted to serve because I felt that I could make a difference.
To be really honest with you, it's just a sense of community that I have, and the gratitude that I have for what GPISD has given to me. The opportunities that it set me up for, the education that I got, really molded me into the person that I am today, and opened the doors for a vast, vast variety of opportunities.
My why is to help the students of Galena Park ISD. And that's why I now am a board member.
I want to be able to provide everybody the best chance that they can get so they can succeed in life. And when I'm involved in this community, I've lived in this community since I was 4 years old, and I don't think I'm going nowhere for this community. So I want what's best for all our kids in this community.
Thank you for sharing your stories so true, for inspiring us in all that you do. Your commitment to excellence shines so bright. In Galena Park ISD, you're our guiding light. With gratitude, we celebrate your dedication, shaping the future for our next generation. This Board Appreciation Month, we proudly say your service and passion light our way. Thank you, Galena Park ISD Board of Trustees. Happy Board Appreciation Month. So on behalf of all the administrators who came to support tonight, we appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter. We now come to the business portion of tonight's meeting. We invite and encourage you to stay for the remainder of the meeting. However, if you need to leave early, we understand, and this is a convenient time for you to do so. We appreciate your attendance. Please come again.
That was so cool. It was a collaboration. That was nice. Adrian, kind of made it work to fit, and then they had to change a little bit to make it fit the fit. Man. Was one of the students? Yeah. Okay, was that Ruben's?
Jared Link, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources Services, will present the CDA Local Other Revenues Investments.
Okay, good evening, President Hernandez, members of the board, Dr. Moore, Ms. Valdez, Cabinet. Again, I want to reiterate what everyone else has said tonight. Thank you guys for all you do for Galena Park ISD and our communities. All right, I'm going to be very quick tonight. We only have one policy. This is not a policy that was brought in a TASB update. This is a policy that we wanted to update through our business office. It's CDA Local. It deals with other revenues and investments, and the changes we wanted to make were for the following reasons: to increase the maximum maturity of short-term investments to take advantage of rates due to anticipated lower interest rates, and to increase the weighted maturity time frame for the total portfolio. Does anyone have any questions? Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Link. We now move on to new business. Is there a motion to approve revisions to District Policy CDA Local, Other Revenues Investments at first and final reading?
I, Noe Esparza, move we approve District Policy CDA Local, Other Revenues Investments as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Noe Esparza and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. With respect to the general consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Adrian Stevens, move we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Adrian Stevens and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. With respect to the construction consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Amanda Arabia, move we approve the construction consent agenda as presented.
I, Jose Jimenez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Amanda Arabia and seconded by Jose Jimenez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. With respect to the financial consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Ramon Garza, move we approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
I, Noe Esparza, second the motion.
A motion was made by Ramon Garza and seconded by Noe Esparza. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with 0 abstentions. The following documents were presented to the board for information. A, Dr. Juana Giacona, Chief Administrative Officer, presented, number 1, Early Head Start Policy Council meeting minutes of November of 2024. Number 2, Early Head Start Update and Fund 205 Expenditure Report Summary of November 2024. B, Mr. Ben Poppy, Chief Financial Officer, presented, number 1, Tax Collection Report, November of 2024. Number 2, 2016 Bond Program and Facilities Construction Update. Number 3, 2016 Bond Program Financial Report as of November the 30th of 2024. And number 5, General Fund Budget Summary Report for the period of September the 1st of 2024 through November the 30th of 2024. There being no further business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 6:45 p.m.
Ms. Hunter, can you